Today we tackle Planeswalkers in Cube, and I'll tell you why I have cut the cap on walkers. Welcome to Cultic Cube, where we cube religiously. We make you better at Cube, and make your cube better. Today's topic is a fraught one. Planeswalkers are big, splashy, headline news kinds of cards. Most Magic sets only print a handful of these, so many of us are understandably wary about cramming too many of them into our cubes. I have wrestled for years with walkers in my cubes, and I have made many missteps in how I treat them. I have arrived at a point that makes me and my group happy, and I would like to share the approach that is working for me today. This topic is inspired by questions from a few viewers, which often have to do with what density of walkers is ideal. In the past, I have tried to answer that very question by solving for the perfect number of walkers across all the colors and then filling those slots. I have since decided that taking Planeswalkers as a category in isolation constrains my design. Now I consider which cards best serve my purposes, generally ignoring the question of card type. In this video, I hope both to acknowledge and to assuage concerns about Planeswalkers, and ultimately reassure you that arriving at a specific number need not be your goal. I conducted informal polls on Twitter and the MTGCube subreddit, inquiring whether you all maintain Planeswalker caps in your cubes. About a third responded yes. You all also wrote thoughtful comments explaining your positions. I cannot reproduce all these remarks, I'm afraid, but I will highlight some that are indicative of the various points that we will discuss in this video, and I will endeavor to represent a diversity of perspectives. Let us begin by acknowledging possible reservations about Planeswalkers. First, some people are concerned that walkers are simply too powerful. This is doubtless true in environments whose power level is designedly attenuated. In anything approaching the power level of standard formats of the past 10 years or so, this is rarely an issue. Moreover, in high-power cubes, walkers coexist with some of the most powerful cards in Magic's history, making it unlikely that the average walker is an enormous power spike. A second complaint is that walkers tend to promote metagames rife with grindy mid-range slogs. I can understand this concern, as we have doubtless all played games that fit this description. I have found such stalemates to be more frequently a hallmark of games without walkers, when boards become clogged with creatures. In such situations, Planeswalkers tend to accelerate the pace of games and bring about a resolution. If nothing else, enough uncontested upticks unlock an ultimate, which should break games open. Moreover, while it may have been more true in the past that Planeswalkers were almost entirely mid-range cards, we increasingly see walkers that have application in a broad range of theaters. Big Elspeth is a real win-con in Control, and Will Kenrith's only home is here, where he does a remarkable job defending the team and finding cards. Aggro has excellent Gideon options, including Ally of Zendikar, who is the best Anthem available, and Blackblade, who is a fine beater. Combo has the most anemic walker possibilities, though Dak Faden can fill the yard quickly, and Red Duretti can do an overpriced impression of Goblin Welder. I do not deny that mid-range decks love Planeswalkers. In my environment, I found that an important tool for the relevance and success of mid-range decks is accelerating into walkers that impact the board and that provide resilient value that survives through sweepers. These days, Green has a wealth of 5 CMC walkers that are among the best things for a mid-range deck to be doing. Control decks also benefit greatly from walkers, though. Walkers survive through Control deck's own sweepers, as we just mentioned, but most importantly, Planeswalkers often ease deck building pressure by being a sort of Swiss Army knife that provides card advantage and supplies a win con. This allows a Control deck to rely less on pure card draw spells and fragile large creatures. A third reason people dislike walkers is that they do not contribute to Magic of the sort that Richard Garfield intended. If you do not like Planeswalker gameplay, then fair enough, of course you shouldn't run them. It's my sense that people are increasingly at ease with walkers, and I believe that WotC has lately done a fine job acclimating us to them. The Sagas and Dominaria, which are to be found at a range of rarities, function similarly to Planeswalkers, inasmuch as they accrue value over multiple turns and then ultimate. And War of the Spark featured a hitherto unheard of 36 Planeswalkers total, of which 20 are uncommon. For what it's worth, Richard Garfield was a member of the Dominaria design team, and he developed the prototype for Sagas. Garfield worked on the Ravnica City of Guilds design team as well, in which capacity he created a new card type, which was not used in the set, but which Rosewater resurrected and retooled in order to create Planeswalkers. Garfield's original concept was the structure, which was akin to an artifact with activated abilities. Structures also had hit points in the form of stability counters, such that structures could be attacked and destroyed. Magic's progenitor thus had a hand in the development of Planeswalkers, even if he did not conceive them in 1993. The density of walkers in War of the Spark also serves either to make people feel more comfortable with walkers running rampant in an environment, or it really annoys those who believe walkers should be special, a protected class of permanent that is rare enough that opening one is exciting. Some people suggest running only one incarnation of any given named walker, as a way of shoring up their identity as well. Such restrictions make perfect sense from a flavor perspective. I personally embrace the chaos of alternate universes with proliferating Gideons, for instance. Despite the fact that I am an old codger, I happen to appreciate the gameplay that walkers encourage. They increase decision points, complexifying game states in ways that I find interesting both for the player controlling a walker and the player attacking into it. This is not the Magic of yesteryear, and I totally understand the desire to create a nostalgic environment that fixes in time a classic model of gameplay. I am happy with the new model, however, and when WotC wants to deliver pushed new cards to me, I will gladly sleeve them up and add them to my cube. Some people are fearful that walkers are too difficult a permanent type to destroy. I do not want to bore you with a list of cards that one could run that interact with Planeswalkers. I will say, though, that some people tend to think only of effects such as Oblivion Ring and Vindicate when enumerating answers. By far and away, the most common way of killing a walker is by attacking it. Plus, healthy environments should foster aggro decks that go under most walkers. Do not forget that there exists targeted discards such as Thoughtseize and Permission that can prevent walkers from hitting the board. They can be bolted or named with Sorceress Spyglass. They can be destroyed, exiled, or stolen with certain creatures. A final reservation about running a number of walkers is that this perforce creates an environment in which the best deck will invariably be 5-color Planeswalker control. I have not found this to be an issue in my own environment, though I certainly can see how this might be true elsewhere. The principal way to punish greedy piles of cards is to outrace them with aggro. Combo and more focused control should have excellent matchups against this sort of deck as well. I present you with a list of walkers I currently run in my 450-card unpowered vintage cube. I feel it would be tedious to dwell on these one by one, so I offer up the list without commentary, though I highlight what I consider to be the best walker in each color category. As you can see, I run a substantial number of walkers. I have eliminated most that I think are too narrow in application or are too cute. In my tables, dedicated aggro and combo decks often do not run walkers at all, and they are not crippled by this deficit. Lately, WotC has, however, given us walkers that behave mostly like creatures and that can be useful in aggro. Midrange and control strategies have access to a number of walkers. For my group's tastes, seeing walkers regularly has not deranged gameplay or slowed matches to a crawl. Your group may have a totally different take on this class of card, and by all means, treat walkers in the way that feels correct to you. I hope I have shown you why I believe Planeswalkers are largely a boon to my cube. At top left, you will find a link to my video about designing multicolored sections in Cube. Let's keep hanging out and chatting Cube.